Whispers among stardust. The air on Proxima Station smelled like engine oil and artificial cherry blossom, a strange combination that reminded 11-year-old Owen Blackwood of the time his father mixed cleaning solution with his mother's perfume. Not deadly, but definitely not right. Owen wasn't supposed to be wandering the lower maintenance tunnels of humanity's furthest outpost. His parents, respected cynobiologists studying the strange crystal formations discovered on Proxima b, had explicitly forbidden it, but Owen had inherited his mother's curiosity and his father's disregard for sensible precautions, a combination that routinely landed him precisely where he shouldn't be. Just 5 more minutes, he whispered to himself, crawling through a service duct that hummed with the station's life support systems. His small flashlight illuminated the metallic passage ahead, casting long shadows that danced as he moved. The tunnels beneath Proxima Station were rumored to connect to ancient alien architecture, remnants of whoever had built the strange crystalline structures that had brought the research team here in the first place. Owen had overheard his parents arguing about it late one night when they thought he was asleep. These tunnels weren't built by humans, Lena, his father had insisted. The dating puts them at least 4,000 years old. His mother had scoffed. And I suppose the aliens just happened to use standard Earth measurements and perfect right angles. That had been enough to plant the seed in Owen's mind. If his parents, the supposed experts, couldn't agree, then clearly someone needed to investigate. That someone, obviously, would be him. The duct suddenly widened into a junction, and Owen carefully lowered himself down, landing with a soft thud on a grated floor. His flashlight beam swept across the chamber, revealing pipes and conduits that stretched in every direction like metallic veins. And something else, something that definitely wasn't human engineering. A circle of pale blue light pulsed from what appeared to be a door, not the standard pneumatic doors used throughout the station, but something more elegant, with sweeping curves that reminded Owen of the waves back on Earth's oceans. Symbols he didn't recognize scrolled across its surface, glowing with an inner light. "Whoa," he breathed, stepping closer. The symbols seemed to respond to his proximity, shifting and realigning themselves. Definitely alien. As if responding to his voice, the door slid open with a sound like whispering wind. Owen hesitated. Even he knew that walking through mysterious alien doorways was probably pushing his luck, but curiosity won out. He stepped through. The room beyond defied explanation. The ceiling soared upward, disappearing into darkness despite the modest external dimensions of the structure. Stars seemed to float in the air around him, small points of light that moved in complex patterns. The floor beneath his feet was transparent, revealing what looked like an ocean of liquid silver. And at the center of it all stood a girl. At least Owen thought she was a girl. She appeared mostly human. 2 arms, 2 legs, a face with eyes, nose and mouth in the expected configuration. But there were differences. Her skin had a bluish tint that seemed to glow subtly in the strange light. Her hair, if it was hair, moved as if underwater despite the absence of any breeze. Most strikingly, her eyes had no pupils, just irises of shifting silver that reminded Owen of the ocean beneath the floor. They stared at each other for what felt like eternity. "You're not supposed to be here," she finally said, her voice melodic and strange, as if each word contained harmonies underneath. Owen, never one to be outdone, replied, "Neither are you, I think." To his surprise, her face transformed with a smile. "That's fair. My name is Zilara. I'm the 3rd princess of the luminary constellation. I'm Owen Blackwood. I'm the first son of Darce Blackwood, from Earth." He didn't know why he added the last part, but it seemed important somehow. Zilara tilted her head, studying him with those impossible silver eyes. "Earth. The blue planet with all the water. We have stories about it." "You do." Owen stepped closer, fascinated. "We have stories about aliens too, but most of them involve either probing or invasion." She laughed, a sound like crystal wind chimes. "We have no interest in either of those activities, I assure you." So what are you doing here? Owen gestured around at the impossible room. And what is this place? This is a nexus chamber, a place between spaces. Zelara moved her hand, and the floating stars rearranged themselves into what looked like a map. My people built these long ago, when we explored this section of the galaxy. They serve as observation posts and, in emergencies, escape routes. Escape routes? From what? Zelara's expression darkened. That's complicated, but I shouldn't be telling you any of this. Humans aren't supposed to know about us yet. Too late, Owen grinned. Unless you've got one of those memory-wiping devices like in the movies. We don't. She sighed. And even if we did, I wouldn't use it. I've been watching your people for months now. You're interesting. Watching us. How? Instead of answering, Zelara gestured again, and one of the floating stars expanded, revealing a perfect three-dimensional image of the station's main laboratory, where both of Owen's parents were currently arguing over a holographic model of a crystal formation. That's my parents, Owen exclaimed. Are you spying on us? Observing, Zelara corrected. It's different. Not really, Owen countered. And those crystals they're studying, are they yours? Did your people make them? Zelara hesitated, then nodded. They're communication nodes, remnants of an old network. They've been dormant for centuries, but your people's activities are reactivating them. That's why I was sent to investigate. Owen felt a flutter of excitement. So there are more of you. A whole civilization. Yes, far from here, but yes. She waved her hand again, and the images dissolved back into points of light. I've already said too much. You should go, Owen Blackwood from Earth. But Owen wasn't ready to leave. This was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him, by several orders of magnitude. Can I come back? To talk? I promise I won't tell anyone. Zelara studied him, her silver eyes unreadable. That would be unwise. I'm pretty good at unwise, Owen responded with his most winning smile. It's kind of my specialty. To his delight, she laughed again. I can see that. Very well. You may return, if you can find this place again. Is that a challenge? Owen raised an eyebrow. Because I'm also pretty good at those. Take this, Zelara said, reaching toward one of the floating stars. It drifted to her hand and solidified into a small crystal, similar to the ones his parents were studying but smaller, smoother. She placed it in his palm. It will help you find your way back, if you truly wish to return. Owen closed his hand around the crystal, feeling a strange warmth pulse through it. I'll come back tomorrow. Same time. I may not be here tomorrow, Zelara warned. Then I'll keep coming back until you are. Owen replied with the unshakable confidence of youth. That's another thing I'm good at, being stubborn. Zelara's mouth quirked in what might have been amusement. I believe you. Now go, before you're missed. As Owen turned to leave, a thought struck him. Wait, how old are you? You look about my age, but... Time moves differently for my people, Zelara answered enigmatically. But in your terms, I suppose I would be considered 13 of your Earth years. Cool, Owen nodded, satisfied. See you soon, alien princess. Farewell, human child, Zelara replied, and as Owen stepped back through the doorway, he could have sworn he heard her add, until starlight brings us together again. The door slid closed behind him, leaving him once again in the dim maintenance tunnel. Owen looked down at the crystal in his palm, which now pulsed with a soft blue light in rhythm with his heartbeat. He carefully tucked it into his pocket and began the journey back to the inhabited part of the station, his mind racing with the implications of what he'd discovered. For the first time in his life, the universe felt infinitely larger and infinitely more interesting than he had ever imagined. And somehow, he knew with absolute certainty, his chance meeting with an alien princess named Zelara was only the beginning of something extraordinary. Little did he know that 15 years later, that small crystal would lead him across half the galaxy, chasing a promise made in starlight and sealed with a friendship that transcended worlds. promises written in cosmic dust. 15 years could change many things. Governments, technologies, hairstyles, but apparently not Owen Blackwood's inability to follow sensible rules. At 26, he still found himself in places he shouldn't be, though now with considerably higher stakes than a scolding from his parents. "Captain's going to space you if she finds out about this," muttered Ravy, Owen's reluctant accomplice and the Horizon Seeker's chief engineer. The small shuttle trembled as it detached from the main ship, thrusters firing in short controlled bursts. "Only if she catches us," Owen replied, focused on the navigation console. "Which she won't if we're back before the supply run to Ganymede Station is complete." Ravy sighed dramatically. "We're stealing a company shuttle to chase a signal that only you can hear, based on a crystal you claim an alien princess gave you when you were 11. Do you realize how that sounds?" Owen patted the breast pocket of his jacket where the blue crystal had resided for 15 years. It had started pulsing 3 days ago, while he'd been inspecting cargo manifests, a job he'd taken specifically because shipping vessels traveled to the furthest human outposts, where he might find some trace of Zalara or her people. "I know how it sounds," he admitted, "but you've seen the crystal. You know it's not terrestrial technology." "I know it's weird," Ravy conceded, "but weird doesn't automatically mean alien princess beckoning you to a romantic rendezvous across the void of space." Owen rolled his eyes. "It's not a romantic rendezvous. You literally told me you promised to marry her when you were kids." "I was 11. I also wanted to be a space pirate with a parrot that could shoot lasers from its eyes." The shuttle cleared the Horizon Seeker's proximity zone, and Owen engaged the main drive. The stars blurred momentarily as they accelerated toward the coordinates that had appeared, encoded in light pulses from the crystal, visible only to him. "Just for the record," Ravy said, checking their life support systems, "if we find your alien princess, and she's hostile, I'm telling her I was kidnapped." Owen smiled, but his mind was elsewhere. After 15 years of searching, of being ridiculed for his childhood fantasy, of taking increasingly remote postings in hopes of finding any trace of the luminary, the crystal had finally awakened. Something had changed, and the coordinates pointed to an unmapped region just beyond Jupiter's orbit, hidden in the asteroid belt. The passage through the densely packed asteroids required all of Owen's concentration. The signal grew stronger as they approached, the crystal now glowing continuously against his chest. There, he pointed to a larger asteroid ahead, its surface unremarkable save for a peculiar smoothness to one face. "That's it. That's what. It's just a rock. Trust me." Owen guided the shuttle toward the smooth face of the asteroid. As they approached, the surface seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising from desert sand. "Ah, Owen, we're about to crash into a very solid-looking asteroid," Ravy said, his voice rising slightly. "No, we're not." Owen maintained course, his confidence absolute. The crystal burned against his skin now, almost painfully bright. "It's a doorway." Just as Ravy began calculating their imminent demise, the shuttle passed through the seemingly solid surface, like it was nothing more than a hologram. Beyond lay a vast hangar, carved from the inside of the asteroid itself, illuminated by the same pale blue light that Owen remembered from his childhood. "Holy," Ravy whispered. The shuttle settled onto the smooth floor with barely a sound. Before them stood what could only be described as a ship, though unlike any human vessel. It seemed to be grown, rather than built, with flowing organic lines reminiscent of coral formations or massive seashells. The same symbols Owen remembered from the Nexus chamber scrolled across its hull. "Told you," Owen said, unable to keep the smugness from his voice as he powered down the shuttle's systems. "This proves nothing except that there's weird alien tech in an asteroid," Ravy countered. "Not that your childhood sweetheart is waiting for you with open arms." The shuttle's hatch opened with a soft hiss. The air that flowed in smelled faintly of ozone and something else. Something floral and strange, but hauntingly familiar to Owen. He stepped out, Ravy close behind him. "Hello," Owen called, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. Zilara. For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, a section of the alien ship's hull rippled and opened, revealing the silhouette framed in silver blue light. The figure that emerged was unmistakably Luminary, with the same bluish skin tone and flowing hair that seemed to defy gravity. But it wasn't Zilara. This Luminary was taller, broader, and distinctly male. He regarded them with silver eyes that contained no pupils, just swirling patterns like mercury. Humans, he said, his voice carrying the same harmonic quality Owen remembered. You should not be here. Owen stepped forward. I'm looking for Zilara, third princess of the Luminary constellation. My name is Owen Blackwood of Earth. The Luminary finished for him. Yes, she said you might come, though few believed it possible. A surge of hope rushed through Owen. Then she's here. Can I see her? The alien's expression remained neutral. I am Theron, first guardian to the royal lineage. Before I answer your questions, you must answer mine. How did you find this place? Owen pulled the crystal from his pocket. It pulsed in time with the lights of the alien ship. She gave me this, 15 years ago on Proxima Station. Theron's eyes widened. The first real emotion he'd displayed. The princess gave you a royal resonance stone. Willingly? Yes, Owen confirmed. We were friends. Theron studied him intently, then glanced at Ravi, who was trying very hard to look inconspicuous while simultaneously recording everything on his neural implant. And your companion? I'm just the driver, Ravi said quickly, completely uninvolved in any cosmic romances or interspecies diplomatic incidents. Theron's mouth twitched in what might have been amusement. Very well. Follow me. Owen Blackwood of Earth. The princess has waited a long time to fulfill her promise. Owen's heart raced as he followed Theron into the ship, barely registering Ravi's whispered, What promise? Owen, what promise? The interior of the vessel defied human architectural logic. Spaces seemed to expand and contract. Corridors curved in ways that shouldn't have been possible within the confines of the asteroid. The walls themselves appeared alive, pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that responded to their presence. Our civilization has observed humanity for centuries, Theron explained as they walked. But direct contact has been forbidden until your species reached a certain technological threshold. Which we haven't yet, Owen guessed. No, your people are progressing, but still prone to fear what you do not understand. Then why are we here? Rady asked. Why risk contact now? Theron stopped before a doorway similar to the one Owen had discovered as a child. Because the princess insisted. And in matters of the heart, even royal guardians must sometimes bend to stronger forces. The door dissolved before them, revealing a chamber that took Owen's breath away. Like the Nexus chamber from his childhood, it seemed impossibly large for the space it occupied. A garden of strange crystalline plants stretched before them, and above, a perfect recreation of Earth's night sky shimmered and moved. And there, in the center of it all, stood Zilara. She had grown taller, her features maturing from the girl he remembered into a woman of otherworldly beauty. Her hair, like liquid starlight, flowed around her in complex patterns. The simple garment she wore seemed woven from the same material as the stars above, shifting, luminous, alive with color. For a moment, they simply stared at each other across the impossible garden, separated by 15 years and countless light years of space. Owen Blackwood, she finally said, and her voice, still musical, still layered with harmonies, sent a shiver through him. You kept your promise. I told you I was stubborn, he replied, finding his voice at last. She smiled, and it was like watching a star being born. So you did. Zilara moved toward him, her movements fluid and graceful. Up close, he could see that her silver eyes held galaxies within them. Literal galaxies, stars, and nebulae swirling in endless patterns. I didn't think I'd ever see you again, Owen admitted. After you disappeared, I spent years trying to find any trace of your people. I know, she said softly. I saw you, sometimes, through the Nexus network. I couldn't reach out. My father, the Emperor, forbade direct contact after he discovered our meetings. Then why now? What changed? Zalara's expression grew serious. Everything. My father has died. I am to be crowned empress within a lunar cycle. She paused, studying his face. And our astronomers have detected something approaching Earth, something ancient and terrible that once hunted both our peoples to near extinction. Ravi, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. Wait, what? Something's heading for Earth. Zalara nodded. We call them the Void Eaters. They consume worlds, strip them of all life and energy. And you're telling us this now? Ravi looked incredulous. Shouldn't you be warning? I don't know, our governments or something. Your governments wouldn't believe her, Owen realized. That's why you contacted me instead. Yes, Zalara confirmed. I need someone who already believes in the impossible. Someone who can help bridge our worlds before it's too late. She held out her hand to Owen, palm up, revealing a mark like a constellation on her skin. That's why I gave you the resonant stone all those years ago. I saw something in you, Owen. A capacity to see beyond the boundaries others accept without question. Owen looked from her hand to Ravi, who was clearly struggling to process everything. You're asking us to help you convince humanity that alien life exists and that we're all in danger from space monsters. Yes, Zalara said simply. Will you? Owen thought about his life. 15 years spent chasing a memory, always searching the stars for something most people believed was nothing but a child's fantasy. Now, standing before him was proof that his faith hadn't been misplaced, but the stakes were impossibly high. For 15 years, I've been trying to find you again, Owen said slowly. I never stopped believing. If helping you means saving Earth, then yes, I'm in. He reached out and took her hand, their fingers intertwining. The moment their skin touched, the crystal in Owen's pocket flared with blinding intensity. The constellations above them shifted, forming new patterns, new possibilities. What just happened? Ravi asked, blinking against the lingering brightness. Theron, who had been silent throughout the exchange, bowed deeply to Zalara. The promise bond is complete, Your Highness. The Council will have to accept your choice now. Promise bond. Owen raised an eyebrow at Zalara. What exactly did we just do? Zalara's eyes sparkled with both mischief and solemnity. Do you remember what you said to me the last time we met? When you were 11 and thought yourself so grown. Owen's eyes widened as the memory surfaced. I said when I grew up, I was going to marry you. And I promised to wait. Zalara finished. In my culture, promises made with a royal resonant stone are binding beyond death itself. The moment I gave you that crystal, our fates became intertwined. So, what? Ravi looked between them. Your space engaged now. Something like that, Zalara said, her expression unreadable. But first, we have a galaxy to save and 2 civilizations to unite. She turned back to Owen, her eyes serious despite her smile. Are you ready for an adventure, Owen Blackwood of Earth? Owen thought about the boy he had been, standing in an impossible room beneath a human outpost, making ridiculous promises to an alien princess. He thought about the man he had become, never quite fitting in anywhere, always searching the stars. And he thought about the future, uncertain, dangerous, but suddenly filled with possibilities he had only dreamed of. He squeezed Zalara's hand gently, feeling the warmth of the promise bond flow between them. I've been ready for 15 years.